Fixtures here, Valley Road for this round 4 NPL encounter between the Devonport City Strikers, proudly sponsored by United National Road against the Kingborough Lions. Your two teams for today's game, visiting Kingborough Lions, number 1, Nicholas O'Connell, number 3, Ryan Cook, number 4, Agak Dion, number 5, Peter Rudinasai, number 6, Hugo Schwartz, number 7, Joel Badger, number 9, Noel Deeds, number 10, number 11, Lesson, number 15, James Shane, bench number 2, number 14, number 17,
Welcome to Valley Road for this round 4 fixture between the Devonport Strikers and the Kingborough Lions in the NPL for football Tasmania. 3 games into a fragile season is a fragile kind of truth. A ladder drawn in pencil, not ink, yet today atop that early summit stand the Devonport Strikers, kings of a moment, still finding its shape, their crown gleaming but untested by time's full weight. Below them, waiting, coiled with memory, the Kingborough Lions, a side that knows this opponent not as a mystery, but as a story they've written 3 times over last season, having defeated them. And it's because last year lingers, it lingers like a shadow at sunset, long and unavoidable for these Devonport Strikers. 3 meetings, 3 triumphs for the Kingborough Lions, not accidents, not whispers of luck, but a pattern etched with intent. Devonport may wear the present's gold, but Kingborough carries the past like a blade. And so this is no ordinary early season clash. This is a question dressed as a game. Is the latter telling the truth, or is it merely forgetting history? Devonport strides in as the rising tide, swift and certain, but tides can recede. Kingborough arrives like a storm remembered, not loud yet, but heavy with promise and perhaps inevitability. And today, form meets memory, hope meets precedent, and somewhere between them, 90 minutes will decide which story survives. Tom Ballantyne's Devonport Strikers feature Tiger Harper, Dom Smith, Toby Barton, Brody Dennehy, Ivan Jolivet, Josh Tollivet, Courage Lewa, Isaac Bates, Brady Last, Connor Park and Liam Kelly in the starting lineup. And for the visiting Kingborough Lions, is Nicholas O'Connell, Ryan Cook, Bagat Biong, Peter Ravitasai, Hugo Schwartz, Joel Badger, Noah Mize, Mies Ilal Latma, Solomon Tabeje, Joe McShane and Bradley Lakaseljak. And we are off to a start here at Valley Road. Tiger Harper for the Devonport Strikers with the ball as the Devonport Strikers will kick from left to right on your screens. And the Kingborough Lions will be kicking to the left of your screens. Tidying up at the back there. Latma, he thumps it long forwards. Barton jumps with Noah Mies. Connor Park back into the starting lineup this week for the Devonport Strikers. Chested away and out of play by McShane. Park with the throw. Park heads down, flicked forward by Bates. As the ball stays in the air for a long period of time, finally headed down by Badger. And I mentioned in my introduction, 3 times these 2 teams clashed last season and 3 times Kingborough emerged victorious. One of those fixtures was here at Valley Road and the Kingborough Lions emerged victorious 2-1 on that day. At present, the Devonport Strikers sit atop the table We have 3 wins from 3 games, the goal difference 12 and 9 points. That was coming into this round. South Hobart's victory last night. We changed that. The Kingborough Lions currently in 5th on 6 points. As Barton looks to fire long, headed down by Lakaseljak. Mees flies in, a free kick then. Challenge from Mees. It'll be just inside the halfway line for the visiting Kingborough Lions. I'm excited to have you join us here for this fixture at Valley Road. A lot to play for between these two sides in 2025. Kingborough finished ahead of the Devonport Strikers, finishing the season on 41 points. The Devonport Strikers finishing the season on 35 points. Kingborough in 3rd, Devonport in 4th. The ball into the box, headed by Mees to the back post. Harper equal to the challenge and import for the Devonport Strikers this year. Born in Adelaide, Japan. Played in Japan before, making a debut with Western Sydney in 2024 via the Newcastle Jets, now at Valley Road. There's Brodie Dennehy, the evergreen Brodie Dennehy, having recorded his 100th goal in NPL fixtures earlier this season. Puts that one out of play. So 3 games for the Kingborough Lions thus far this season. A 1-0 victory over Riverside. A goal for Noah Mees. The difference there in round 1. In round 2, 2-0 victors over the newly promoted South East United. Mees and Badger on the score sheet on that game, and then once more Mees scoring last week in a disappointing loss to South Hobart as Park drives forward for the Devonport Strikers. Well tackled though, now Lakaseljak, and then cleared away up towards Barton. A disappointing 1-5 loss that was to South Hobart last week for the Kingborough Lions. So the Devonport Strikers a thumping 10-2 win to start the season against the newly promoted Ulverston. Brodie Dennehy with a hat-trick on that day. And Devonport Strikers new number 9 by way of England and New Zealand, Josh Tolliver, with 2 on that day. Lockie Van Newtingham on the bench. Devonport Strikers had 2 in that game. Park, Payne and Lewa on the score sheet also. Ball from Bates looking in behind for Last. Last will get to it before it crosses the byline. Fires towards the near post and then put out of play by a combination of Ravitisai and Cook. And Kingborough will set their defences as the Devonport tall timber of Barton and Smith and Park and co come into the box. O'Connell in goals for Kingborough, one of the best shot stoppers in the competition, having made his way from South Hobart last season to Kingborough for this season in greener pastures. And it is a perfect day, speaking of green pastures, for football here on the northwest coast of Tasmania. Sun shining, very little breeze. Barton heads down into a mess of legs and bodies and couldn't get that one across the line. As Lewa is tracked, turns it over, loses his footing, and now Kingborough can move forward. Good work from Badger, who looks to fire in behind to the opposite wing for Tebedje. They'll jump. Tolliver flies in. Referee allowing play to go on. Yvan Jolivet, Frenchman, and then having spent some time in the collegiate system in the US. Jolivet on the ball, developing a good partnership with Bates, the youngster in the middle. And then 19 years of age from New Zealand, Bates, ball up towards Devonport's number 9, Tolliver. Then to Lakaseljak, and then out to McShane, who comes up towards Tebedje. Looking for a long switch, Park steps in and cuts that out. Good early energy in this game, some 5 or 6 minutes in. A lot on the line for both these teams. Kingborough having already dropped significant points last week. And Devonport sitting atop the table looking to keep their run. Last, back to Jolivet, Looks to deliver, skips past Badger, now fires into the box. Good angle on delivery, no one gambling towards the near post and then headed away by Badger. Back doing some good defensive work. Jolivet tidies up, then to Smith, and then to Barton, and then to the youngster Bates. Looks very composed on the ball. Delivers to Tolliver, good touch and shields the ball well. Long switch out then to Kelly into the 11 this week. Skips past McShane, no foul. Appeals for a penalty. Sure they'll be trotting out the old line. Well, if it's not a penalty, give him a card for diving. Either way, the whistle was not blown. And it'll be a goal kick for the Kingborough Lions. Peter Ravitise playing out there to Cook, and then Ravitise challenged heavily by Tolliver, and then Tolliver kicking the ball away. Tolliver pleading his innocence. A conversation now between the linesman and the official, and it looks like Ravitise will need some attention down there and a chance to draw breath for the good crowd that's in here at Valley Road. So I already mentioned the one fixture here between these two sides last season was the 2-1 victory to Kingborough. The other two fixtures between these two sides last season, the Kingborough Lions victorious down at the Den in round 1, round 2, victorious 1-0, and then again victorious at the Den in round 16, 3-2. Now the Devonport Strikers, league champions in 2023, the Knights in 2024, and then South Hobart last year. And both these sides will have designs on etching their name into the trophy for 2026. Looks like we're set for a restart. Expect 2 or 3 minutes added at the end of this first half for that stoppage. O'Connell goes long. Jolivet jumps by himself. Biong, a significant height advantage over Lewa, but loses out. And some indecision from the officials, and eventually a throw in for the Kingborough Lions. Appeals for a foul throw, nothing giving. And the Devonport Strikers come away through Lewa. Gets it to Tolliver, looks to fizz one across the pitch to Kelly, doesn't quite reach him. And then back to Jolivet from Bates. Now we park, back to Jolivet, dictating play at the moment. Jolivet looks to chip it in behind. Lutmer alive to the danger. Lutmer again intercepting. And away to Smith. A good start for the Devonport Strikers here. 10 minutes played, 0-0 it remains at Valley Road. Chested from Tolliver and then fired wide. Goal kick. And back into play. Jack having moved from South Hobart as well, along with O'Connell. Tolliver pressing high, and then O'Connell going long, skipping the press. Barton jumps with Tabeje, comes down to Kelly and McShane. They battle for it, and it'll be a throw to the Devonport Strikers inside their own half. Connor Park, Toby Barton, co-captains this season. Tom Smith ignoring the options forward of him, and then switches play back to the left-hand side. Devonport through the animus of Park, move forward, lovely touch from Tolliver, then to Denny, he couldn't cushion it through to Lewa. And Badger trips on the ball after a bit of attention from Lewa. And once again, Lewa dips inside. Some good first time football from Smith and Bates and Barton, and then Bates comes deep to pick it up from Barton. And the approaching Mies forces him to play back. Smith goes longer up towards Tolliver. Play back, Lewa with the tension. And out of play. Pizzaravitise. O'Connell. Young coming deep to get the ball, and O'Connell telling him to get up the pitch. Park steps in front of Mies. Bates. No option wide left. Kelly having tucked in, and Bates. Just to Barton. Brady last. To Jolivet. Denny. Park. To Bedje, pressing then. Jolivet caught on the ball. Mies into Bedje with a chance to go forward. To Bedje, slim, no offside flag. Leaves the ball behind. Attention from Barton enough to turn the ball over, and perhaps a little snapshot of the plans for the Kingborough Lions when Devonport try to bring the ball out from the back. Trying to find a moment where the press is triggered and then pinch and counter attack through that way. Kelly on the left wing. And you get past McShane, does deliver into the box, only as far as the near post and O'Connell's gloves. The last 2 weeks, the Devonport Strikers victorious over Launceston United in round 2, 2-0. Lewa and Tolliver on the score sheet on that day. And then last week, 4-2 victors over Clarence. Tolliver at the double again with a brace. Dennehy on the score sheet again, as well as Van Newtigam on the bench today. Tolliver out here on the wing. Lewa driving in, he's got 3 or 4 to beat. He slips though, falls over the ball, allowing Cook to come away with it. Presses him, Cook dwelling on the ball. Last spins away. Devonport retain possession, and this has been the pattern here within the first 15 minutes. The Devonport Strikers with the ball, pressing and probing this tight Kingborough Lions defence. Kelly, pass blocked. Chance for Kingborough to cement the possession. Lutmer. Inside to Schwartz, then back out to Cook. And to Biong. Lovely touch, but stronger was Jolivet. Smith will be forced backwards here, all the way back to Tiger Harper in goals. Bates, 19-year-old from New Zealand. Spreads the play out towards last. Cook coming across. Cook does well enough. Can he put the ball out of play? He does. A throw in for the Devonport Strikers right on top of the corner flag. So Tom Ballantyne and John Fennick would have got their troops all rolled up for this one. A big fixture. Kingborough looking to keep their dominance from last season. Devonport Strikers. Devonport looking to bounce back after what was a disappointing season for them. Jolivet. Smith. Switches to Park. Kelly pulls out wide. He opts to go back in towards the box to Tolliver. Lovely ball. He skips past 1, skips past 2. Tolliver fires. Blocked. Once ball by Lutmer, and I'm sure that won't be the last intercession. Critical intercession he has to play today. And a raking ball out towards Tebedje doesn't find him. Instead, a throw in for the Devonport Strikers. Excellent little clip ball from Park there, just to find Tolliver's in a little tiny gap of space in the 18-yard box. He's managed to skip past 1 or 2 before his shot was blocked. Smith. Last, back to Smith. Switches on. And he plays it to Park. Park traps it. Kelly. And switched it from one side of the pitch to the other. Dennehy offering a run down the line. The ball deflected out of play. Throw in Devonport. So a couple of changes for both sides today from the 11s that started last week. Tactical, strategic, injury bound. Combination of all of the above. Dennehy skews a shot. It ends up nicely in the path of Layware though. There's one for company in Cook. Last brings one defender over with him, makes the run. And a little untidy between Devonport there, perhaps a little lack of communication. And it will be a throw in once again right in the corner for the Devonport strikers. To Tolliver's feet, back to last. To Tolliver, space to shoot. And fires over the crossbar. Tolliver with a few early sights of goal. That one he got a clean strike away. Was without momentum moving forward as he struck through that. Hard to get over it and deliver the power needed to beat the quality of the keepers in the NPL. And as he attempted to generate that power from a standing start, he struck under the ball and put it over the crossbar. But a few warning signs for the Kingborough Lions early here. As this game, despite a relative lack of goalmouth action, has ticked along nicely for 20 minutes. Peter Vitisai on the ball there. Born in Scotland. Of Fiji descent, having played in Europe and Fiji and the UAE. Now at Kingborough, a well-travelled young man. Bates, having come across the ditch, across the Tasman, to join the Devonport strikers. And Badger deemed to have fouled last there. Devonport move forward through Park, once again trying to find Tolliver. Mees, and down to Cook. Badger's short, no real options longer. And right back into the corner for Roditi side. Pressure well and truly on. O'Connell bringing the ball out to Lutmer, who's patient. So wait for the runs or wait for a press. Potential to play through. Either way, Devonport happy to sit in a kind of mid-block and wait for a particular trigger or just wait for the ball to be played in the midfield. Byong longer into the corner, finding Cook, who's trundled forward, gets it to the back post, a little long and heavy and out of play. Be a goal kick for the Devonport strikers. Barton, back to Harper. New in goals for this season for the Devonport strikers. Brady last. Back to Harper. Harper to Barton. Then to Smith. Smith into the feet of Laywar, then last. Finally, Tolliver. I'm not sure if a touch was deliberate into the path of Labour, but it nearly worked out for the Devonport strikers. The sun an issue there for Bates and Mees. As Jolivet flies in, then Dennehy and now Bates, who decides to cut back inside. Finds the pass to Tolliver, an excellent bit of play from Bates as he read the Kingborough defence, played it in behind the fullback, allowing Tolliver to cut in. But the rest of the Kingborough Lions defence doing their job, stopping that low cross coming in from Tolliver. But still a corner for the Devonport strikers as we tick towards the halfway point of this first half of this round 4 NPL fixture between the ladder leading coming into this round, Devonport Strikers and the Kingborough Lions. Ball into the box. Smith, the second time Devonport have got first heads onto the ball from a corner, and Kingborough scramble to clear it away. Neither has been particularly clean contact. On that occasion, it was Smith. To Barton. Barton looking to find last, pass a little askew. And Layward showing great speed and pressure to trouble the Kingborough Lions there. To be a throw in to Kingborough. Cook to take, Ravitsai, the logical option back, and he'll look to switch the ball through Lutmer. And then Lakaseljak, who's peeled into kind of right back position. Ravitsai. O'Connell. Kingborough getting a foothold in this game, being patient here. And they've opened up the left-hand side of the pitch for Ravitsai. There are the options. Mees comes feet over the top. And some miscommunication and a Devonport throw. 0 all it remains. Jolivet. Long up the line, O'Connell will sweep this one up. O'Connell longer this time. Last jumps with Badger, taps Badger in the back of the head. Badger just backing last under the ball and has been penalised for that. Badger having arrived at Kingborough by way of Canada. Number of imports for both of these sides. Smith finding a great pass in range to last. He cuts it back to Tolliver, hits it first time. Not quite a sweet connection, but a good cut back. Put it right in the path of Tolliver. The ball was just bouncing on the kind of half volley. A difficult technique to execute and couldn't quite get that one right as Badger flying forward now. Has last for company, in fact has 3 for company. And Smith bundles all 3 of them over in making that tackle. Barton. It's Park. Dennehy. Into Tolliver. Jolivet. Dennehy. Run from Kelly. Dennehy trying to play it in behind the fullback for Kelly. Intercepted. Mees. A challenge by Barton. Barton thumps it higher than it went long. Mees heads forward. No one beyond him though, and it's all Devonport there. Jolivet. Very comfortable on the ball. Nice pass to Tolliver. Dennehy. Trying to feed it in behind to Lewe. Couldn't get it to him. Cook then to Badger. Last in on Badger and they wrestle for it. Play allowed to go on. And he's giving it away. Noah Mees skipping away from Smith. What can Mees create here? He's by himself though. There's one in the box, one behind him in Badger, and in the end, it doesn't come to much. The old-fashioned call from the fans in the stand, from the coaches' boxes, was play the whistle there. Bates stretching. And toes it in the direction of Kelly. Bates will get it back. Then Jolivet. Fires it. Tolove does well to bring it down. He gets it wide to Lewe. And he fizzes one into the box. And a great touch from Tolove, whose instinct and movement in the box was excellent there. Got to the right place at the right moment. It was the right cross, but not quite the right finish. Difficult to apply the finishing touches from there with that volley. But once again, Tolove proving himself a nuisance for this Kingborough Lions defence. Ravitiso. Matma. Back to O'Connell. Into Schwartz, then back to O'Connell. As we tick towards the half-hour mark here at Valley Road, this round 4 NPL fixture, the undefeated Devonport Strikers at home to the visiting Kingborough Lions. Matma. Ravitiso. Back to O'Connell. Some impatience from some fans in the stand as Kingborough probe and consider their next move. They get it into Badger. He's tucked inside. Getting numbers centrally. To Beje. Into the box. Headed away by last minute. Look bound for Mees. Back into the box. Does come through to Mees. He's on the penalty spot. All the way back to Badger. He fires it off several players and eventually just sits at the top of the 6-yard box for Harper to collect. Lewe goes over. No foul. And Kelly getting it all wrong there, coming off his shin and out of play. So despite some good intensity in this one, it hasn't been a particularly fractious game, but there's certainly plenty of vim, verve and vigour in this one so far. Jolivet. Smith, then out to last. Has Jolivet inside, uses him. Has Bates for one more, opts not to go there. Instead, comes back out to last. He's going to have to switch the play once more. Smith then, switching to Park. Kelly further left, comes in his direction, but the pass favoured to Beje has come from Victoria in Green Gully to join the Kingborough Lions, similar to his teammate Bagat Biong. Ravitisai out to Cook, then to Biong. Biong up the line, hoping for a lot from Cook. Barton always was going to get there first to half. Past the half-hour mark. And most of the goalmouth interest and strikes and goal have come to the right of your screen, and mostly through the animus of Joshua Tolove, Devonport Strikers' new number 9. He's been on the score sheet each week. There's 5 to his name this season already, looking to add to that tally today. Ball forward to the direction of Lewe. O'Connell clearing on the left. Smith jumps with Mees. Down to Biong, touches heavy. And Barton will pick that one. Bates. Kiwi. In the general direction of last, asking for a bit there. Lewe pinches from Badger. There's pressure here, has 3 to beat. Does earn a throw in. Schwartz. Cook. Inside to Biong. He can switch the play. McShane on the outer flank, like a Seljak in his direction. McShane comes back to like a Seljak, having moved from South Hobart to Kingborough. Pulling the strings in midfield now. Schwartz, a lovely ball out towards McShane. Tries to cut it back to Mees. He'll get another chance. Won't deliver on the left. Comes back to Tebedje. Then Biong. And like a Seljak. And his cross too close to Devonport's shot stopper. Jolivet. Bates. And pressure being applied from Tebedje. A lot of running there. Didn't manage to trouble the Devonport defence and midfield, who were calm enough on the ball. Park back inside to Bates. Has last. Goes to Dennehy. Might come through to Kelly, but it's going instead to roll out harmlessly for a kick. Just over 10 minutes left in this one at Valley Road. Back to O'Connell, living a little dangerously here. Kingborough, and they do get caught there. Tolliver shutting down O'Connell. Ball movement needs to be slicker or earlier there as Devonport sniffed a turnover and pressed the keeper. Fortunately for Kingborough, only out for a goal kick. Bavitasai a chance to play forward. Gets it to Biong and then back. Spun spills to Cook. Slips it through to Biong, who has the legs to get past Smith. Good position for the Kingborough Lions. Can they make it count? Into the box. No. Trying to get it across the box there, Biong, to his Victorian compatriot of last season, Tebedje. John Fennick in his second season for the Kingborough Lions would have been well pleased with the performances of his team against what has been a very strong Devonport Strikers team for the past decade in Tasmania. If you look at the record in the past decade in Tasmania, there is no doubt they have been the dominant force. And meanwhile, Kingborough have really risen up the ladder in recent years and have certainly been there or thereabouts. And is this the year 2026 when they earn the crown for themselves? Yeah, there is a head knock, so the play will be stopped here in the 36th minute. Jolivet prone on the ground after jumping for that header. Nothing malicious in that contest, just a head knock. So players a chance to draw breath and take a drink. After this weekend's fixture, next weekend's Easter round will be in the Cup, Australia Cup preliminary rounds, but also for the Tasmania Statewide Cup named the Seljak Cup. Devonport will host Taroona next weekend in the Cup, whilst Riverside travel south to face Kingborough. And then following that, Devonport have 3 consecutive away fixtures in the league. Riverside, then South East United, then South Hobart. And Kingborough have 3 consecutive home games against the newly promoted Alveston, then the Glenorchy Knights, then the last season's second place side, Launceston City. Tebedje can't keep that one in play, but Devonport Strikers throw in. So tense and terse contest here at Valley Road through most of this first half. Shots on target mostly coming through Joshua Tolliver of the Devonport Strikers. As both teams have looked to settle into possession at the back and then find a way through. Devonport playing a little higher up the pitch when doing so though. Lewa picks it up on the half turn in that 10 space, in the half space. Last looking to get it into the box, so Connor will keep that from going out for a corner. Checking of the shoulders by Schwartz. To Badger. Back inside. And then up the line towards the run from Beong. Couldn't quite bring that under his spell, arcing his neck in that general direction. As Bates gets it to Dennehy, who plays a lovely ball through to Lewa. Devonport attacking in numbers here. Lewa cuts back, beats one, beats two. He'll shoot a goal with the lefts. Straight at the keeper. Exciting bit of play there. An excitement machine, Lewa, when he's forward and running with the ball, chopping past two defenders before shooting with his left foot. Didn't trouble O'Connell in goals. And that was after a good ball, good first time ball in behind from Brodie Dennehy. Lewa, Bates, lovely ball in behind to Tolliver, who picks his spot and finishes with aplomb. And from chaos, clarity, from pressure there, perfection. And from Tolliver's foot, a goal. And for the fourth game in succession, Joshua Tolliver is on the score sheet for the Devonport Strikers, and they lead here in the shadows of half-time, 1-0 in this round for Football Tasmania NPL fixture. And the home fans erupted in celebration when he picked his spot just past the near post of the approaching O'Connell. An outstanding finish, a difficult angle, and O'Connell was off his line quickly. It showed real composure just to roll it inside the near post. And if this were a boxing match, you knew awarding this first half on points. Before that goal, I think Devonport would have just been leading anyway in terms of chances created, possession retained. But with that goal, they certainly put this round or half in their favour. Momentary pause as the ball comes back to the centre, and Badger is getting some attendance here. Attention on the left wing. Limping heavily, that could be the end of his day. Fennick waiting on the sideline for an indication. Fennick gets a thumbs up. I think that's meant to mean that he's going to be okay. They are going to go ahead with the substitution. Momentary confusion. It is going to be a substitution here at the end of the first half, I think. Fennick. No, they've got play underway. The official tired of waiting. Substitution not made. Kingborough playing with 10 men. Park steps in. No, Badger's gone back onto the pitch. So the decision not to make a substitution. Badger good to continue. And the substitute on the far touchline with coach John Fennick putting his coloured vest back on. So a bit of confusion all around there. Back to 11, VLO changes made. Bates pulling the strings, lovely pass out towards last. Can he get it across the box to Tolliver over his head? Dennehy there, cleared away. Jolivet in first at the top of the box. He cuts back, chops back again, out to Kelly. Drives at McShane. McShane equal to the challenge. Corner, Devonport Strikers. 3 minutes remain here in this first half. Now the change will be made. The Canadian Badger not fit to continue, limps his way off the pitch. And we have our first change for the game. His first assignment here, the number 2, Eli Wright, to attempt to keep this corner out. Wright, a former line, returning to the den this season. Ball in, punched away by O'Connell. And Wright's first involvement is to watch that headed away by Bates. Tolliver, Kelly. Kelly clips that one to Dennehy's head. Then he couldn't quite direct his header where he wanted it. And then it ends up with McShane back to Lutmer. Lutmer, a former Northwest Coast boy himself. Lutmer clips in behind in the direction of Tebedje. Kelly tracking back. McShane challenges him. McShane bounces over. Flag being waved from the linesman. I think it's going to be a free kick against Kelly. The initial contest looked as if it were 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but Kelly penalised. Free kick to Bedje. Biong standing over this one. Naomi's the talisman for this Kingborough Lions team. Can he snatch a late first half equaliser? The delivery is low. I'm not sure whether that was what was decided or if that was just poor execution. Either way, not the delivery that Kingborough were hoping for. Biong gets another chance. Lakaseljak. A ricochet back to Lakaseljak. He'll play all the way back to Lutmer. Kingborough look to play forward to get in behind this Devonport defence. Is there a final denouement to this first half of interest? Mees gets his foot in front. Biong. He battles and loses out to Jolivet. Barton. Back to Harper, who goes route one. No one home. Lutmer in all the space. A cerebral player, Lutmer. As his ball fizzed out in the direction of Eli Wright, who came on in the 42nd minute for the departing Badger. Schwartz, Biong, McShane. Towed away. Headed down, cleared away by Kelly, nearly in the favour of Tolliver, but O'Connell sweeping well off his line. Denny, he heads down, Kelly, man on, through to Tolliver, gets one through his legs from Lutmer, an old-fashioned scratch down the back of the leg there from Lutmer as he played out the ball. Well into added time here, into the second minute of added time at Valley Road in this first half. The Devonport Strikers leading 1-0 through a Josh Tolliver goal. Long from Jolivet, brought down by Tolliver. Eli Wright dangerously back inside there, but releasing Tebedje, and Kingborough with a chance to run. The Devonport Strikers skipping past Jolivet was Tebedje. Can he get the delivery right? Eli Wright running ahead of him, giving an option. He's got his back to goal when they really need to be putting it goalward. Trying the nutmeg and gave away the free kick in the end. Eli Wright and Devonport put pay to that counter-attack from the Kingborough Lions. So we have had a couple of stoppages in this first half, so we do expect it to run at least 3 or 4 minutes here of added time. A free kick, and all of a sudden things are fractious between Lutmer and Tolliver there, and the players run in from all directions. Can only hope that calmer and cooler heads prevail in these situations. That seems to be dissipating relatively quickly, whatever the concern was there. Chance for the fans to get energised momentarily. It hasn't been a particularly dyspeptic first half, perhaps a flash of it there, and getting a talking to like Martin Tolliver from Brenton Copra, our official today. Playback underway into the box there. And the question being asked was Tabeja held back there by the Devonport defence. He did go down, but Copra didn't think there was a need for a whistle there. Again, longer forward from Devonport. Schwartz under pressure from Lower. And we are brought to an end in the 5th minute of added time by Brenton Copra. And at half-time, the score is 1-0 to the Devonport Strikers. First 15-20 minutes really in the Devonport Strikers' favour. Kingborough clawed their way back into the game for a more even second period of that first half. However, the Devonport Strikers took the lead from an excellent finish from Josh Tolliver, picking it at the near post past the approaching O'Connell on the angle and giving Devonport the lead. His 4th consecutive game scoring Tolliver, his 6th this season, and what a signing he's proven to be for the Devonport Strikers. And so it is a 1-0 lead to the home team, the latter leading going into this round, Devonport Strikers. We'll be back in 15 minutes with all the action from the second half at Valley Road. Join us then.
Whose idea was it anyway? To add sweet, spicy honey sriracha sauce to the big brekkie range. The boss, of course. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like is when he lets you steal his fries. Real love is when he lets you steal his El Maco. The El Maco is back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Welcome back to the second half of Valley Road in this round 4 NPL Football Tasmania fixture between the Devonport Strikers in blue and the Kingborough Lions in the whitish grey. Devonport kicking to the left of your screens, Kingborough kicking to the right of this half. The Devonport Strikers lead 1-0 from a 39th minute, a Tolliver goal. And we are back underway at Valley Road. One change for the Devonport Strikers. Liam Kelly has come off and Lachlan Van Nutigan has come on. Like a Seljack up the line. Yeah. Smith stepping over the ball, playing back through to Barton. Barton inside to Jolivet, lays it back down to Smith. And Devonport continuing to be patient as they build up play out of the back. Just as soon as I say that, Barton goes longer forward. Tolliver hooks it on towards Last, who flicks it back in the path of Tolliver. Ball does get back to Last, who drops the shoulder, goes around. Cook fires into the box. It's over the everyone. Van Nutigan with his first touch on the pitch. Park playing in the direction of Bates. Couldn't find him. As Biong and Tabeja sorted out between them. And some argy-bargy between McShane and Van Nutigan ends up with a free kick to the Kingborough Lions. So Fennick and Ballantyne have had their say to their troops. And now it is all to play for. They will make some further substitutions in this half. Their other chance to impact the game, but their tactical and strategic changes at that half-time break could make all the difference to the outcome of this game. 1-0 it is, the Devonport Strikers lead. The last 3 times these two sides met, or in their 3 matches last season, the Kingborough Lions emerged victorious. Do the Devonport Strikers turn the tables on Kingborough Lions and keep their pitch-perfect start to the season? Bates out to Van Nutigan, who already has a couple of goals this season. 3, in fact. 2 in round 1 and 1 last week against the Clarence Zebras, but Kingborough moved the ball in the other direction. Tabeja, last seen playing with Green Gully in Victoria last year. Tabeja into like a Seljack to Biong, who strikes from range, curls it towards the top corner. Harper with an athletic dive to his left. In the end, needless as the ball hit the outside netting. But a show of positive intent from the Kingborough Lions and to pull themselves, drag themselves back into this fixture and back into this season perhaps. They will need a result here. Pressure, the press much higher from Kingborough here than it was in the first half. Tabeja and Park. Van Nutigan ducks under that one. Tabeja, Bates. Schwartz finds it hard to see in the sun. Shields his eyes, still manages to trap the ball and retain possession out towards Cook. Cook then challenged. He looks to step inside and 3 Devonport Strikers conspire to dispossess him of the ball. Lutmer into Mees. To Biong, another sighter, this time on the left, and skews it wide. But Kingborough, a real show of intent, and the press is on high. One of the first clear changes we can see from the first half. Perhaps it was a pre-game plan to switch to this in the second half, or perhaps it's as a consequence of the pattern of play in the first half or going behind near the end of that first half. Either way, Devonport have been dissuaded from playing out from the back for the moment. Harper sending his man up towards the halfway line, and this one will go long. Not a particularly tall front 3 for the Devonport Strikers. And Tolliver, and fantastic touch and turn away from McShane. Bates. Barton. Skipper. Comes to Van Newtigem. Will this be a second for the Devonport Strikers? And he fires towards the near post, but he couldn't pick his spot. O'Connell rooted to his spot, and Van Newtigem could have gone near post, far post. Didn't provide the finish for either. And perhaps a consequence of just freshly coming onto the ground. Either way, fantastic chance squandered for the Devonport Strikers to take a 2-0 lead here early in the second half. Van Newtigem did well to pounce onto the opportunity, just slightly skewing the finish. Into the box, Lutmer there before Tolove. So already, perhaps some more godmouth action in this first 5 minutes of this second half than we saw in probably the entirety of that first half. A couple of strikes on goal from Tebedje. Missed opportunity from Van Newtigem. There were a few box scrambles, obviously a goal to Tolove, and Tolove had some sighters in that first half, but good showing of intent here. Devonport pressed high, and he dispossesses Schwartz, but cannot get onto the end of it. Lewa now striding down the right wing. Has Cook to beat, dinks it over the top, and unbelievably the header off the line keeps it clear, and then thumped high by Ravitase. The Scottish-born Fijian playing at the Den. Tolove. Jolivet. Bates. Park. Dennehy wants it there. So he goes one wider to Van Newtigem. Van Newtigem trying to skip past McShane, can't on that occasion, and beyond goes long towards Wright. It's a great outlet ball. Wright has a chance to level the scores. His header will take him wide. Last did well. And already the game open and moving quicker than in that first half. And certainly as the players tire in this second half, they will. And great strength from Last, forcing the foul from Wright, and Copper rightly penalising Wright on that occasion. So a great run and a great long ball there from Biong to find Wright. Just wouldn't quite sit for him, and he had to head it forward and just took him wide, and then Last outwitted and outlasted him in that duel. Short then to Jolivet. To Courage Lewa. Schwartz does well to spin away from him into Mees. Mees out to Wright. He went to the bench but came on for the injured Badger. He looks to cut it back to the top of the box. McShane and Van Newtigem. Van Newtigem does enough. Played into the path of Bates. Schwartz staying with him. Bates having to play it back. Then Van Newtigem tries to flick it through to Dennehy. Didn't get good contact on the ball. Tries to recover. Biong does enough to hold on to it. Then to Lakaseljak. Intensity up in this game. Out to Tebedje. McShane. Player will just slow down momentarily and reset. Tolove pressing though. Grabs Lutmer. Copper allows play to go on. Schwartz. To Lutmer. Stepping in to the midfield. His long ball over Last, and Last takes the safe route and puts it out of play for a corner. Tricky there when the ball, you're stretching, you have to make a decision, you haven't got eyes on where your opponent is. Maybe flick that one towards a throw-in or out for a corner. In the end, he made the decision to be certain. Put it out for a corner. Ball into the box. Headed down by Barton, scuffed away by Tolove, and that will be enough. Tebedje goes down. Some appeals for a penalty. I don't know how serious those calls are. There seems to be only one or two fans in the crowd perhaps appealing for that penalty, but definitely Tebedje did seem to cop a knock as the ball was cleared there by Tolove. not penalty worthy. It's like a long throw here. And it is. Doesn't get over last. And ricocheting again. Lutmer finding himself in attacking position. Certainly hands by the side there from Bates, despite the appeals of the Kingborough fans and players. Bates using the modern technique there of tucking both hands behind your back while defending to reduce the chances of being penalised for a corner for handball. Harper does well to get a fist. Schwartz just touches Dennehy under the ball. Lovely touch from Tabeje and good first time ball to Lutmer, who stayed forward and then miscues badly. That does end up with Tabeje. Jolivet in hard. Comes to the feet of Mees. Good this for Kingborough, and then a shot. A really difficult angle from Biong. And the intensity seems to have upped to level these first 10 minutes of this second half. And we do hope you're tuning in and enjoying the coverage in this round 4 NPL fixture for Football Tasmania between the Devonport Strikers and the Kingborough Lions. Headed down by Ravitasai. Laid back from right, Biong. Growing in stature in this game, Mees. Barton jumps in, a perfectly timed tackle. And Lewa allowed to race the other way. Wright staying with him. Forcing him back, a nice little ball inside to Jolivet. And then Bates, who has 3. Bates scanning the field, tries to get it out to Van Newticum early, intercepted. Sliding tackle from Jolivet. To then Seljak unleashes to Bedje, who can run at Park. He has the overlap from McShane, dangerous here. Kingborough well overhit the cross. But Kingborough with an excellent start here to this second half. Devonport press back. Schwartz into the box towards Tabeje, headed away. Van Newticum can't scuff his clearance away. Park goes over in the box. Copra giving the signal for a dive. He did go down quite heavily, and Lutmer stopping play, putting it out of play, allowing Park to go over. Park catching his breath, whether fouled or not, whether dive or not. He did go over pretty heavily, and having caught his breath, play allowed to continue. Devonport, I'm sure, will return the ball back to Kingborough. They do so. Bates rolls back into position as Lutmer switches the play. Ravitasai. Seljak. Cook racing down the wing. Brady last across, puts it out of play. We tick up towards the half-hour mark when we usually start to see substitutions. One substitution made for both sides so far. Kelly off for Van Newticum, and another long throw. Smith heads away only as far as Seljak, gets it back out. Delivered into the box. Harper catches. Tolliver's 1-on-2. Van Newticum's 1-on-1 out on the left wing. But Harper slows play right down. And gesticulating from Valentine over the bench. Seems he wanted that early. And Devonport win a free kick. Dom Smith earning that one. So a forced change at the end of the second half with Badger coming off for Eli Wright. The single change for Kingborough so far. And then a half-time change, as I mentioned, Van Newticum on for Kelly. We do have Tabeje departing now, though. Just under the hour mark. He has been replaced by Pitt. So 2 changes for Kingborough thus far. And Pitt's first involvement, around Pitt, traps it with his shoulder. And underhits the pass a little, but Lutmer's still there first. Last. Then he jumps with Schwartz. Tolliver to the drop of the ball. Tries to spin away. Lutmer in hard. A great challenge from Lutmer. Byong. Long levers allowing him to turn sharply and stride ahead of his opponents. McShane and Bates. Bates a great tackle, winning the ball back for the Devonport Strikers. The youngster, the 19-year-old Kiwi at the heart of the Devonport midfield alongside his French teammate in the middle of the park. The double pivot they play the Devonport Strikers. Yvan Jolivet spent some time playing in the college system in the US. And the throw comes to Lutmer. O'Connell. So past the hour mark now, half an hour to go. The Devonport Strikers still lead through that 90-minute strike from Joshua Tolliver. Over Devonport by way of England and then through the Wellington Academy in New Zealand. Smith striding into the midfield. That towards last. Last and Cook and Jolivet throwing to the Devonport Strikers deep in their half on the right wing. But twists and turns to come in this one. Have we seen the defining moment of this game? What will be revealed in this last half an hour of play? Lewa. Ricocheted cross into the arms of O'Connell, who quickly throws out to Pitt. Can they keep the ball moving forward? Byong again. First time pass. Was that intended for right? Either way, it will get to him. Now on the left wing, numbers in the box for Devonport, but 2 there for Kingborough. Towards goals, but Tiger Harper unchallenged by that one. Collects comfortably in transition there. Kingborough kept the ball moving and couldn't quite create the chance. A high press this half from Kingborough, so it seems. Lewa, an incredible trap and turn there. Gets it to Tolliver. Can't quite take it in stride and pulls up a little limp. Devonport fans won't like to see that. Van Newtigam hasn't seen too much of the ball here so far in the second half. And forced to backtrack McShane. He will use O'Connell. It's a line of demarcation set here by Devonport with that 39-minute goal. The difference between the two sides. Oof. They knew to come in very, very late. He did catch him. It was a challenge on the ball, but it was, I said very, very late. That's harsh. It was late. It caught him, and he will receive a slice of cheese here, Van Newtigam. And the yellow card is brandished by Copra. The first to go in the book in this game. And a substitution for the Devonport Strikers. Josh Tolliver, who pulled up limp from tried to take possession from behind him and just couldn't quite. Ended up a little sore. He's departed the pitch. And in his replacement, we have Mitch Burley for the Devonport Strikers. So Brady Dennehy will move to the top of the pitch in the 9 position, and Burley will play in the 10 previously occupied by Dennehy. Bates trying to find Dennehy on that occasion and not quite on the same wavelength. Dennehy apologetic perhaps that he didn't make the right run or didn't read the pass. Tolliver off the ground. And Burley with big shoes to fill. Peter Ravitsisai. Now to Cook, who was last seen with Clarence Zebras before playing for Kingborough. Ball forward into the path of the speedy Pitt by Lakaseljak. Harper always favoured. Dennehy flicks on, Lewa running in behind, but Lutmer has been ever present in leading the defence at the back. His pass errant there though, only to Park. Jolivet, Lewa making the run. Jolivet gets to Dennehy, who can turn. He has space to carry the ball into. He rolls it out to Bates. Can Bates find the right angle, the right pass, or the right strike? He does strike, but instead, barely, he was running across the flight of the ball. Strikes him instead. And a free kick in a very dangerous position. Free kick specialists will love it from this range, some 22 yards or so, 21 yards. He will take responsibility to step up and strike this one. There were no complaints from the Kingborough Lions players, so the foul there. Can the finishing touch be applied? There's three raffling it off here. Lewa, Dennehy and Jolivet. All eyes on Copper with the whistle then to restart play. Dennehy strikes low around the wall and O'Connell read his intent. And the status quo remains 1-0 to the Devonport Strikers. As we tick towards the second half of this second half. Some 22 and a half minutes nearly played in this first half. Ball into the box. No, linesman's flag is up. Ball across the line. And some vocal Kingborough Lions fans behind the Devonport goal. Giving it to the linesman. Lama, Jolivet, quick to be first to that one. Releases Lewa, Cook tracking him. Lewa's first time pass, blocked. Back to Jolivet. Jolivet now overlapping. He goes around, Cook gets it to Dennehy, who fires viciously wide of the goal. Laid back perfectly around 12 yards out. He hit it well, but just not quite directed on target. No stranger to a goal in NPL Tasmania, Brodie Dennehy, and on that occasion wasn't too far away. That one stayed hit, as they said, travelling out knots. Devonport still lead, 1-0. Just a small matter of 22 minutes to navigate for them, plus additional time before they can take their first victory over the Kingborough Lions in over a season. Van Utigam with two on him, pressing Lutmer. Headed away by Park. Headed forward by Bates. Van Utigam once more with two. And a Devonport Strikers throw. After a fast start to this second half, just in the last 10 minutes or so, the game has dimmed a bit. The chances have dried up. Devonport with the most two consequential attempts, the free kick from here and then the following strike moments later on goal from 12 yards out. After an action-filled first 10 minutes of the second half, but 20 minutes still to play. Played a few of their cards. The coaches made some substitutions. They've had their halftime talks. It's up to the execution of the players on the pitch. Both teams would have come in with specific plans to make their way through this one. Smith looking to get it to Van Newtingham, and he does. Van Newtingham then with McShane. Steps, jigs, rounds him. Van Newtingham, great play, couldn't get the cross into the box to a teammate. Lutmer did well. Bates. Van Newtingham cleared away. Barton heavily into Mees. Perhaps a little stiff Mees not to get a free kick there. Barton taking the opportunity to play the player and the man, and a smashing tackle from Smith on Lakaseljak very late when the ball was turned over. Smith desperately trying to block a potential shot from Lakaseljak over the top of Harper, who would have been scrambling back to his line. The shot went wide, the tackle went in late, and now we await to see what is decided by Brenton Copra here. Is it enough for a red card? Was it a legitimate play on the ball? What was the force of the tackle? Where was the contact made? And Brenton Copra has only what was in his memory from the live action. No capacity in NPL Tasmania to go to the sideline and view the vision. The linesman and the official in deep conversation. And another bright spark, a heated moment, dyspeptic momentarily. Now an inquisition as to the result. Dragged over for a chat. He's indicating high contact. It's going to be a red card. An enormous decision from Brenton Copra. Sending off Dom Smith here in the 73rd minute, and Devonport will play the remainder of the game with 10 men. It was a late challenge, and as I said, it will all depend on the strength of the contact and where the contact was made. And the indication from Copra, visually made as he was addressing Smith, was that the contact was high. And as a consequence of that, Smith giving his marching orders. Ravit Tisai also receiving a yellow card, I presume, for following up with Smith after the tackle. But a huge decision, and could this shape the fate of this fixture? But at the moment, Kingborough do trail, and I imagine Devonport will drop into some kind of low block here in these final 10 minutes, use the pace of Van Newtingham and others up top to try and counter as they just look to set up the barricades for these final 10. Byong stands over from distance. We've seen him strike, he can hit with power. He's a long way out here, some 35, 40 yards from goal. It would take a spectacular strike from this range to beat Harper in goal. Has he got that in his pocket? He does strike from range. Harper well equal to it. An awkward angle to cross, and so the shot, perhaps the logical conclusion, though the odds of beating a keeper from that range are low. And now a bit of heat and life into the game. 15 minutes, Devonport strikers will have to hold on to here. Going to be all about dissection here. Can they execute on the skills required to break down a team in a relatively low block? Not many teams with 10 men land their flag with the mid block or high press. So this will be, I imagine, Kingborough with the ball chasing the game and the Devonport strikers valiantly defending. Barton heads away. Lewa away, Van Newtigam left on his own at the top of the pitch to do the chasing. Here's Dennehy. Thumped away, and all that chaos at change. Sheen has come on in the place of Last to replace it appears Jolivet has departed the pitch. As they wrestle forward in the corner, Pitt dives on it, nearly grabs it, but lines and flags goes up. It'll be a free kick to the Devonport strikers. Play goes on. Heavy challenge in from Barton. Van Newtigam pinches it from Byong. Great run from him, barely in support. But Schwartz does well to pinch it back. Down into the corner. And they wrestle for it down there. Looks like it's going to be a Kingborough Lions throw. Asking for an early throw was Mees, but edged off it by Park. It'll be a goal kick to the Devonport strikers. Unless I'm sorely mistaken, and I well can be, because in the chaos of that red card, but I do believe that the substitute, Burley, came on in place of Tolliver, has been removed for Sheen to go and form a back four after the dismissal of Smith. Regardless of all that, what remains is that the Devonport lead 1-0 and Kingborough Lions are chasing this game. They have 11 men, Devonport have 10 men, and we have just over 10 minutes of action before added time. Can Kingborough bring themselves back into this game? Can they level the scores? Could they go ahead? Could Devonport pinch one on the counter? That's all to play for. O'Connell standing on his halfway line. Kingborough pushed right up. Devonport have set up their defensive walls. Both teams, clear statements of intent. Byong stands over the ball. Numbers in the box, swinging toward the back post as far as Lutmer, who doesn't get great contact, and then cleared away by Barton. Schwartz. Zeman into the box, finds Ravita Sai. Harper jumps with Lutmer, and free kick to Harper. Lutmer deemed to have impeded Harper with his jump. So Vidal on for the Kingborough Lions, as is Zeman. So Zeman has replaced McShane. Vidal into the right back position. And it also appears like a Seljak has been withdrawn. So Vidal into right back. Zeman into the midfield. Less than 10 minutes to play. Can Kingborough find the pass that unpicks the lock? Can Devonport find the swift move that will give them the victory? Nomies. Will he be the man? He scored every game so far this season. Can he make it a fourth consecutive game in a row? Joshua Tolliver. The difference between the two sides, having scored in the 39th minute, he's scored in every game for the Devonport Strikers. Here comes Van Newtingham down the right wing. Peter Raviti side with him. He cuts back, but there was just too many numbers for Kingborough. And then it is Cook away down the left wing towards right. He flicks it, but there's no one there for him. Bates. To Van Newtingham. Dennehy at the back post all alone. Finds him. Dennehy! He rolls it! And that might have been the chance to seal this game. Van Newtingham did outstanding to spot the run from Dennehy, and the run from Dennehy was excellent. The finish, though, was a tired finish. 80 minutes into this game, and Dennehy just didn't have the power in the shot or the direction. Just tried to be too careful with cushioning it. Maybe needed just to strike through a bit more solidly. Beyond a delightful curler in the path of Mies. Punched away by Harper. Action at both ends. Zeman at the top of the box. Jolivet doing well to marshal him. Lewa throws his body in. And then Park unceremoniously, agriculturally thumps that one up the field. O'Connell once more sweeping high, allowing his teammates to push even higher as they chase this game. Season defining, too early to call it that, but it is an important game and an important result for both these sides. South Hobart made a statement last night in defeating Glenorchy. They are 4 from 4. Devonport desperate to make their record the same, and to do that they need to hold on these last 8.5 minutes. Mies. Last, tackled, ricochet, Pitt. Ill directed. Now Van Newtingham, he's 1 on 4. Bayong pouring down on him. He goes over. Copra deems it to have been softly, and so play's allowed to go on right. Players moving around the pitch interchangeably as they just look for space here for Kingborough. Bayong on the outside of his right. Setting a real task for Wright, who throws his right boot at it and can only make contact to force it high and over the line. Fennick kneeled over on the far touchline. Hands on hips from Ballantyne. And as coaches do, they'd be processing information, the tactical developments in this game, quicker than anyone else. What are they seeing? What are they wondering? What instructions can they give? Or is it too late for all that and it's just down to desperation? Ball onto the pitch, some delaying tactics here, mayhaps. The great Chris McKenna with a touch on the sideline. Ball thrown in. Courage Lewa to last. Back to Lewa. Driving forward, Jolivet. He goes around Lewa, asks for it back. Ravitsasai is one-on-one in the box if he gets it into Van Utigam. Van Utigam at the back post by himself. Lovely pass into Lewa. Van Utigam peels to the 6-yard box. Oh, well read by Lutmer. Good little movement. Lutmer, ever the professional alive to the movement of Van Utigam. Jolivet, once more to Lewa. Last, Jolivet, the Frenchman. A delightful scoop. Some clever play in the last minute and a half from Jolivet, but on that occasion, Lewa straying offside. Dennehy being asked to fulfil an interesting function here. He started in the 10, moved to the 9, and is now playing as a kind of hybrid winger left back as he tracks Owen Vidal of the Kingborough Lions. And is this a bit of old-fashioned gamesmanship here from Jolivet? Or is there a serious concern? Either way, he's taking moments off the clock. Of course, Copper will add these minutes to the clock. Jolivet limping towards the sideline in no particular hurry. And at Copper's discretion, he'll be allowed back onto the pitch. Copper making him wait. So Devonport playing with 9 men momentarily as Jolivet waits on the sideline. Not sure why Copper isn't allowing Jolivet back onto the pitch, but it is 9 men of Devonport v the 11 of Kingborough at the moment. Vidal's touch is heavy, gives Dennehy a chance to clear. Now the ball's gone out of play. He will be allowed back on. I dare say he had to wait because he had to stop play. Ball. Spin, Mees. Touch heavy, away from Zeman. Lewa. No particular design or desire on that ball other than to put it out of play. And Devonport will be trying to soak up every second that they can of this clock with the ball not inside the white rectangle. Headed down, handball from Pitt, play allowed to go on. Not in the right perspective there. Blinded from his vantage point was Copra, but it definitely looked as if the ball had struck the hands of Pitt before he threw his limbs at it. In the end, half comfortable. On that occasion, there was a bump into the back of Van Utigam, and Devonport will take a long time in preparing this free kick. As we edge toward additional time in the shadows of full time. The embers of the match dying away. But the hopes of both sides still strong. The hope that Kingborough can make their one-man advantage. The hope that Devonport can hold on. Van Utigam flying into that tackle. Already on a yellow card, Van Utigam. He has to be a little careful. Schwartz then carries forward. Bayong goes long up towards Lutmer, who's placed himself forward now. Harper out well and catches well. So Schwartz is sitting deep in defence and Lutmer staying forward where he can. And put out of play as we are in the final minute of regulation time. Ravitsasai out to Schwartz. He has Pitt widest of all. Opts to just dink it into the box, asking a lot of Harper, whose fist isn't very strong. Acrobatically cleared by Sheen, and then Van Utigam hooks it further up the ground. O'Connell goes long. This is just a series of Route 1 football back into the old-fashioned days. And getting to the ball first and earning a free kick, Lewa. He came from a long way with an edge in front of Lutmer as he attempted to play the ball. And now laying prone on the ground is Lewa as we tick into additional time. I dare say there'll be at least 5 or 6 minutes of additional time. A red card and 1 or 2 other stoppages, one for Jolivet, that mean that this final passage will go on for a little bit longer. So don't leave your seats just yet. The drama hasn't fully unfolded at Valley Road. Long. From Harper, out of play. Thrown back in quickly. Park. Once more putting it out of play. Fennick retrieving the ball and getting it to his team quickly. Byong sitting deep. Into Schwartz. Spins away from Van Utigam. Pitt. Denny onto him. O'Connell, final moments. Is there a hero for Kingborough? Is there a hero for Devonport? All questions to be answered in the next handful of minutes, handful of moments. Tragedy, triumph and drama. All options are available. Jolivet, the Frenchman, just clips it up the line. Ball stays in. Into the top of the box. Byong's header. He tried to really arch his neck and get power on that towards goal. Would have taken some header from 18 yards to beat Harper. And once more, Devonport a chance just to take a little bit of time off the clock. Harper taking a drink. O'Connell standing just outside the centre circle. The Kingborough goalie as he attempts to sweep. Keep his team high. Wandering a bit further back now. 3rd minute of additional time. And Lewa always going to be in a position of difficulty when the ball's in the air. But when the ball's on the ground, just like there, he shows what he can do. Van Utigam's in on goal. He's being played onside by Revitasai. Byong's there with Van Utigam, and Byong tracks back excellently. The ball never quite sat for Van Utigam to take advantage of the position he was in. And then Vidal just turns it over to Barton. And then forced to block Barton's pass forward. And it goes out of play. Then a bit of arguing between Van Utigam and Byong in the behind play. Byong upset about something Van Utigam was doing, and I don't think Byong said he's just taking time out of his own team's chances to win the game. Barton has a long throw, so he'll launch this up the line in the direction of Van Utigam. Bates jumps forward with Zeman. Zeman carries it then Vidal. Then he jumps across him. Bates, Zeman with a chance. He tries to cut it back to Vidal, who leaves it just behind him. Dennehy defending, Vidal still with space. It's Noah Mees! And his shot, not even blocked, just off balance and skews it horribly. Mees, I think even if he had managed to get it on goal, that Barton and Co were there to block it. Was that the last chance for the Kingborough Lions? Have the Devonport strikers done enough? Tiger Harper. There'll be a roar around Valley Road if the strikers can hold on when that final whistle bells. But I imagine there is still minutes to play. Bates. Anywhere will do at this stage for Devonport. And being sent back to take the throw from the correct position. There was Cook. Revitasai wraps the ball around to Byong. Byong into the box. Barton, tallest and strongest. Headed down as far as Pitt. He chops. He's going to have a chance to strike from range. Deflected off several boots and eventually cleared. So many bodies in the box. And the whistle is blown. The Devonport Strikers are victorious. Despite going down to 10 men in the 74th minute with the dismissal of Dom Smith, they managed to hold on for the last 20 plus minutes to emerge victorious. The 39th minute goal from Josh Holloway, the difference between the two sides. He picked his spot into the bottom corner at the near post past the advancing O'Connell right at the end of the first half. And no other incursion was made into the goal for either side. Chances came and went. Perhaps the best of the chances for the Devonport Strikers. One for Van Newtigan, who fired past the near post, and one for Dennehy after they went down to 10 men, where he mishit his strike and just passed it straight to O'Connell in goals. But this victory sees the Devonport Strikers 4 wins from 4 atop the table with South Hobart. And as you heard at the final whistle, some very happy home fans. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage from the Devonport Strikers Kingborough Lions NPL Round 4 Football Tasmania fixture here at Valley Road via this YouTube live stream, and the earlier women's game which saw the WSL Devonport women victorious 5-1 over South Hobart. I've been Camille Douglas. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time at Valley Road.